Many, many years ago, when I was much, much younger and run around with a young crowd of people, there's a few of us girls that like to go shopping once in a while together. And one evening, a friend of mine, her name was Linda, she said, "Hey, let's go up to the store." She says, "I need to get a pair of jeans." I said, "Okay, let's go." So off we went. We went up to that fancy French store, it's called J.C. Penney's. And we get to looking for her a pair of jeans. And so she gets her two or three pairs there off the rack and she heads to the dressing room with them. And she's gone and she's gone. She's gone. Finally, I go up to the dressing room and I said, "Are you okay in there?" And she says, "Oh," she says, "I'm frustrated." And I said, "What's wrong?" And she says, "They must have these things sized wrong or something." She says, "Because none of these are fitting me." And I said, "Well, why don't you pass some of them out here and I'll take them back, put them on the rack and see if I can find something else for you." She said, "Okay." So she passed a couple pairs out the door and I take them back to the rack and I'm looking at them. And these were like size 10. And like, well, Lord have mercy, she can't wear no size 10. So I got her a couple size 12s and took them to her. I said, "Here, try these, see how these work." Well, she said them wasn't fitting her either. I said, "Okay, well, give them back." So I take them back to the rack and I get her a couple pairs of size 14s and slip in the door. I say, "Here, try these. I think these will work better." So she puts them on, and all of a sudden I hear a holler come out of that dressing room. And I said, "What is wrong?" And she says, "Oh, Lord have mercy." She says, "These are size 14s." And I said, "Well, you needed something that would fit, didn't you?" And she says, "There is no way that I wear a size 14. And I said, "Did they fit?" She said, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Well, then you wear a size 14. She says, "No, I don't. Not today, I don't." And he put them back on the hanger. Gets her clothes back on. She comes out there and hangs them up. She is in a huff, and I am laughing. I am howling with laughter all the way out of that store. I thought I'd die laughing. And she's madder than a hatter. And she says, "I've never wore size 14 in all my life." And I said, "Well, you did tonight." She says, "Oh, well, I can't even believe that." And I said, "Well, Daddy always taught me that you can't fit 10 pounds of taters in a 5-pound sack. So maybe you need to rethink what size jeans you wear."